some pretty good expectations for the team this year. Solid year, a lot of returners. Let's talk about who you have coming back on the team. First, on the outside, who do you have coming back that you expect to contribute?
Well, certainly Eddie Rivera would be the first one that comes to mind, and he's a preseason all-conference pick and was a very stable player for us last year at the outside position. We'll move him to 2 away this year. Last year he played next to the setter. This year we're going to move him 2 away because that's really where he belongs. And obviously his ball handling skills bring a great deal to our team, as well as his ability to serve the ball with a great deal of heat from the baseline. So he's number one that stands out. The second position is pretty wide open between Nick Smalter, a freshman kid, Kevin, a kid that is a sophomore, Albert Klimek, another sophomore, and then Anthony Randolph, one of our 2, well, actually we got 3 seniors, but we're going to redshirt 1. So that position is pretty wide open, and this fall we had a lot of competition for it, and I'm still not sure exactly who's going to play there.
All right, what about the opposite?
Well, that's $1 million question right now. Elon Fifield would have been our starting opposite, and he's a senior, but he's going to redshirt. He's had some knee injury or problems, and he's probably going to have a little bit of surgery come January, so we're going to redshirt him. So Andy Sellen right now is a player that we redshirted last year, so he's a redshirt freshman. Has a lot of potential there. Anthony Randolph could play there as well. He's played some there. Keegan Robbins, who right now is in the fall was our number 1 setter because Omar was ineligible, and oh shoot, I've drawn a blank. That's terrible. Help me right quick. Jordan, yeah, Armstrong. I got too many players. Jordan Armstrong broke his foot, so he didn't get to practice either. But both those guys will be back this spring, so we could look at Keegan Robbins as possibly being an opposite for us.
Okay, middle blockers. Who do you have back, and who do you see performing well?
Well, the number 1 would be Rob Samp. He's one of the 3 seniors, and he's been selected as our team captain. He's had a great fall, and I'm really happy with things Rob has done. Certainly Ramon Burgos, who was a freshman last year from Puerto Rico, came in and did some really nice things last year, so we're expecting good things from him. Brian Saunders, a guy who jumps out of the gym, doesn't have much volleyball experience, but he's gotten better, so he's certainly somebody that we expect good things from. Those 3 in particular will be the 3 guys we look to, and then Jeremy Swartz would be the 4th guy who could come in and help us.
Now what about the setter?
Well, I alluded to earlier, you know, the fall was kind of difficult for us because Omar was ineligible, and not because of his GPA, but because of some quirk in the NCAA credit hour that he needed, and he's fulfilled that for the fall. So he will be eligible this spring. And then Jordan Armstrong, also, who broke, as I said, broke his foot, and he redshirted last year. So we're expecting those 2 guys to compete. And if we need a third and have Keegan Robbins can fill in, but right now we're looking at him in a different spot.
And then finally the libero position.
Great competition. JW, who was our libero last year and has done a great job. And then Lewis Bertrand, who is a freshman, who's off the Puerto Rican junior national team. So those 2 guys have competed this fall and competed very well. And we're excited about having 2 very, very quality liberos for this coming season.
Now, talk about the senior leadership. You mentioned Elon's going to be redshirting the year, so you have 2 seniors going to be playing. Talk about what the 2 bring in experience and just team leadership.
Well, Rob Samp has really done a good job this fall of taking the team on his shoulders, both at practice and outside of practice. Anthony Randolph is a little bit different in regards to the fact that he does it from afar, and you got to have both. So I'm happy with that fact. And then Eddie Rivera, who I talked about before, who's a junior, has also provided a great deal of leadership. So the leadership from the team is going to have to come from those 3 guys.
And looking ahead at your 2013 schedule, you've got some pretty good ones on this schedule. I think the home schedule highlighted by a non-conference with Penn State. Talk about the schedule a little bit and your thoughts on your scheduling of it.
Schedule is always tremendously difficult to do because of conflicts with the West Coast teams. Everybody says, you're going to play West Coast teams? Well, yeah, we'd love to. We're making the trip to Long Beach, but other than that, it's very difficult because they have 23 matches on their schedule in their league. and so only at least 5 dates available to play non-conference. And we're going out east to play Sacred Heart, New Jersey. Sacred Heart has a very nice volleyball club right now. So that trip will be a kind of a long trip, going back to Grand Canyon, but that's a conference matches. And then Penn State coming here at home. They were not on our schedule last year. Coach Pavlik and I have agreed that they will come here this year. We'll go there next, and we'll just go back and forth. So that part is really good. And then we have a couple schools on there, Limestone and Pfeiffer, that people ask me about, but they're out of the Division II conference in the Carolinas. And that Division II conference has grown dramatically. I think they're up to 10 teams down there. And it's a conference that we need to go back and forth with, not only to help them develop as programs, but to expand men's volleyball, in this part of the country. So look to see those teams from down there. Mount Olive is another one down there. Show up on our schedule in not only this year, but in the years to come.
Now the preseason schedule, preseason picks came out this week. Eddie Rivera was, like you mentioned, was a all-conference selection, but the team was picked 6th. Talk about your feelings on that and how you think maybe the year might go, beyond that now.
Well, thank goodness none of that means anything other than the fact that it gives you some information to put out to somebody who probably doesn't care anyhow. Obviously it's nice for Eddie to be recognized, and I think rightfully so. As far as the picks in the conference, I don't know. It's all speculation, and of course, not only speculation in regards to returners, and none of us know about grades. I mean, none of the schools know. We assume all of our kids are going to be eligible, but that can change dramatically. It could an injury like we had this fall. Both of our starting setters, potential starting setters, are hurt or ineligible. So I don't put a lot of credence in that. And fortunately for us, unlike a lot of conferences, every team gets to go to the tournament at the end of the year. So obviously that's what we focus on, that's what we push towards. If you're in a conference where only the top 4 go, or like I guess our women's volleyball team, the top 4 go, then the whole season, and maybe even the rankings mean a little bit. But right now they don't mean a whole lot other than the fact that we all coaches voted and thought that's where they ought to end up.